When I first met him, he was stuck in a job. Then he joined Apex. Now he's doing deals with inside of the group, and he made more money on his first deal than he would have made all year at his job. So we're going to have a conversation about it. Welcome, Emmanuel Mendez. Brother.
Hey, man.
Thanks for coming in and sitting down with us. And let's tell your story because it's pretty powerful. I mean, first, let me set it up. You're 22 years old, local Puerto Rican kid, right?
Yeah.
And your first deal, you're going to make as much money as you would have made an entire year working for the man.
Which is crazy to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first joined Apex, I was working a 9-to-5, a literally 9-to-5 job in Luma. I was getting paid $15 an hour, making $30K a year. And I wasn't even a permanent employee yet. I was in probationary period.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty good job, though, right? Like, so you're making $15 an hour. That's not bad on the island of Puerto Rico. A lot of people would kill for that job.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent job because, getting a $15 an hour job here is not that easy. Some people get degrees to get paid $15 an hour here. And I got fired. I got fired 1 week before I ended my probationary period, which is crazy. Yeah.
And that's the trouble when you're working for a company or the man or the government. Luma's kind of almost a government agency. It's private, but not really. And then they cut you loose a day before or a week before your probation.
Week before, yeah. I was so happy too. I was like, I'm gonna get this permanency. I'm gonna be able to, get vacations and stuff. And I wasn't thinking of staying there a lot of time, but it was something secure, right? And I was leaning on that. I was gonna have a long-term job because, something I haven't said. I just had a kid.
Yeah.
I have a daughter. She's 6 months old now, and I needed a job, to take care of my wife and her.
You gotta feed people, right? Like you've got to eat. You got a baby that's got to eat.
Yeah,
You got a wife that's got to eat.
Yep.
You got to have a place to live. I mean, you have to get out there and hustle. You're the man of the house.
Yeah, and I've been interested in wholesaling since 2022. So yeah, we can talk about that too, right? When I was studying in UPR, Puerto Rico, I was studying industrial psychology, and I was 2 years in deep, and I dropped out.
And what kind of job would industrial psychology qualify you to get?
Yeah, I would have gotten like a corporate job, probably managing a team of people. It's basically HR, but you get to it's pretty similar. Yeah,
you'd get an HR job working for a corporation. Maybe you're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year to start.
Yeah.
Would you have had to go into debt to get that degree?
Probably. That's one of the reasons I dropped out too, because I couldn't pay off, my debt because I couldn't pay my degree. I was getting the government grant they give for people here, and I couldn't renew it, so I had to pay for a whole year's worth of studies, and I only had a minimum wage job back then, so I couldn't pay that.
Yeah.
So I had to drop out, and I was looking for options, but then I found a real estate course, specifically a wholesaling course. That was back in 2022. They were doing this thing called $0 marketing. They used to post stuff on Facebook, and they were saying, so that's the secret. You paid $5,000 to get in the group, and they tell you that. And
I paid $5,000 to get in the group, and then they're going to show you how to become a marketer on Facebook.
Basically.
And you're going to go out and find wholesale deals, and they're going to hopefully teach you how to do that.
Yeah, so I first started, I paid $3,000, and I was supposed to pay the other amount after I closed my first deal.
Right.
But that never happened because after like a month and a half, they closed down. They shut off.
They got your $3,000.
Yep.
And then they closed down.
Yep. And they had a lot of backlash. They had some legal problems with people. Someone sued them or something.
Yep.
And later, like 2 or 3 months later, the guy who invented the group, the founder, he died. in
I
some
wonder.
sort.
I wonder if he died or if somebody went after him
He
because
staged
he
the death.
stole their money.
Yeah.
He staged his death
He
to
staged
get
his
away
death.
with your $3,000.
Yeah.
And we're not going to mention names here. We don't want
Yeah,
to badmouth
of course.
anybody, but you guys do need to be careful if you're out there doing the internet stuff and just giving your money away to people that don't deliver on what they promise, or even if you're out there getting a college degree and it no longer gives what it promised, right? Like, so when I was growing up, a college degree pretty much meant you were going to get a better job. You didn't have to go into debt to get it. And when you were done, you could use the degree to get a job. Well, now it's gotten way less certain that you're going to get that job, and it's way more expensive, so most people end up in debt. Even in Puerto Rico, where it's way cheaper than it is in the States, you would have still ended up in debt.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get out from under that rock that they put you under. So it's a broken system, guys. We talk about it all the time, and we're real estate investors. We believe there's a better way. And so that's why we've created our community called Apex, which you're involved with now, and you're doing your first deal. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, before I was fired from Luma, I started regaining interest in real estate about in November. That's when I joined Apex. I used the free trial and, basically saw every masterclass you had on there. And I started.
Tell the people how much that costs, because it's not, what is it, $97 a month or something?
Yeah,
it's
like $100 a month, I think it is, and it seems like a lot because a lot of people in Puerto Rico, they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
I got
better value than the $3,000 that you lost.
It's way better value than that.
I mean, honestly, that makes me happy, right? That's why we do these master classes every week.
Yeah.
But we want to find people like you that are going to come alongside of us and do deals. And we're going to talk about your first deal that I'm really not a part of. But since then, we're doing other stuff together as well. So.
Yeah. And, you can pay $100, but if you don't do the work, if you don't really grind, you will not, you're going to waste $100. So you might as well not even pay it, right? But if you really want to do something with your life and you want to change it and, get connections, because real estate is about relationships, right?
Yeah.
So Apex, it gives you this opportunity to connect with people that are either here or outside of Puerto Rico, and you can make deals. You could, someone who's starting out, the best thing you could do is surround yourself with people who know 10 times as more as you.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to learn.
Yeah. If you're a smart person and you put yourself in a room where you're the smartest person, there's not a lot of room to grow. But if you're a smart person and you put yourself in a room with a bunch of people that are above you, you get to catch up very fast.
Yeah. And that's basically what I did. I started going to the RIA groups that they do here in Puerto Rico, Catherine's groups.
Yeah.
And I joined Apex. And this deal that we're going to talk about, I've been looking. So this realtor that had this deal, I've been talking to her since December, I think, from another property she had. And we never got to an agreement on that property. And, like a few weeks later after that, she sent me a message and said, hey, these owners, they're willing to do what you're looking for. They're willing to seller finance. And I was like, oh, that's great. Then let me make an offer. And so she said that, and I was like, I stood on that for a week. I didn't make an offer. I was having like paralysis. What do you call it?
You were worried. Like, how am I going to find the deposit?
Yeah.
How am I going to find a buyer for this?
Yeah.
And this is a $1.1 million offer.
$1.1 million. Yeah.
This is a pretty big first deal.
Yeah. Up to this point, I was looking at smaller deals, like, $300K, $400K, which is bigger, right? But more manageable than something this big, right?
Let me ask you a question. You have $1.1 million?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
The truth is, I looked at the deal because you needed the EMD, right? You needed 20K to put down.
Yeah. So EMD is deposit you give the broker.
Why
so
do they
that
call
can
it EMD?
Earnest money
deposit. Jesus, I've been doing this 27 years and I don't even remember what EMD is.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I came in, looked at the deal.
Yeah.
And we were going to put down the deposit, and I'm going to make a little bit of money for doing that. You have it sold to someone in Apex.
Yeah. So it turns out when I was on the phone with Aaron, he's from the Apex group. I was just sending in the offer for the property. And Aaron was telling me about the first property I made an offer to this broker. He was telling me, "Oh, I love this property. I really want this property," and I was, trying to get it under contract, but we couldn't get to a deal. And I told him, "Hey, this same person has another deal in Rincon," and so I made the offer. And Aaron was like, "If you get an answer on that, call me.
I'm in. He wants it.
I want it." And so, yeah, I made the offer like 2 or 3 days later. She said they tried to counter and we went back and forth, but we got to an agreement very close to what I offered initially, and they accepted. So I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
That's when I went to you. Obviously, I told Aaron they got accepted, but Aaron was going to try and find a partner.
Find the money for it.
Yeah, he was going to find a partner for it. He wanted to buy it.
Where did he find the partner for it?
He found a partner in Apex.
Shameless plugs here, guys, but sorry. This is the way that the community is meant to work as well, right? Like you're a finder. So there's 3 ways that people can make money in real estate. You can be a finder, which you're doing.
Yeah.
You can be an operator, which is what Aaron's role in this scenario is. And you could be the money. So those 3 roles, they're all inside of Apex. So you found it, you sell it to Aaron. Aaron's the operator. He goes and finds the money from a third party who's also in Apex.
Who's obviously,
and they're going to now close on the deal.
Yeah.
Aaron will become the person who runs it on the day-to-day.
Yeah.
And the guy who puts up the money, maybe he'll run it a little bit, but mostly he'll be a silent partner, or he'll look for that passive income. And the deal's got lots of passive income.
Yep.
It's a really good deal. You negotiated a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, I learned how to structure that deal from watching videos you do, whether it's in Apex, whether it's even in the free group. You have a lot of info.
Yeah.
And I joined master classes, and I joined the Monday Night Lives, and you guys talked about it a lot. So I learned a lot from you guys, and also just doing my own research, right?
Yeah.
Because I can get info from one place, but you need to actually do your research and do the work. Like I was saying, you can join Apex and you can pay 100. You could pay, like I did, $3K, but if you don't do the work, you're not gonna get your money's worth.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's got a system out there that works. And Apex, we're not really teaching a system. We show you what we do. We're real estate investors, and we're building a community of other like-minded people that are going to come alongside it. And so you can be a finder, and this is a great group for you. You can be an operator like Aaron is, or you can be the money partner. Do you know who the money partner is in Apex?
Steve, his name.
Steve is.
I don't know his last name, but
and I don't even think that I know Steve very well. I think I've had one phone call with Steve.
Yeah, Steve. I think Aaron knew him. He told him to join Apex, and then I think after that we found the deal, and he ended up. So
Amazing.
It's like, yeah.
And that's exactly what you want to get out of a community where you're networking with people, you're trying to find partnerships, and you're looking for ways to make money. So. I will tell you one thing about this deal. You did such a good job, and I wanted to say one thing that I know about you in the short time that I've gotten to know you. You're absolutely out there making it happen. So I can see it. Adon can see it. Even my wife is like, hey, Emmanuel really looks like he's hustling, right?
Yeah.
And so then we've had conversations where I know you're making 10 calls a day. You're making a couple offers a day, and you're just putting in the work. And you said it just a minute ago. You can come and sit around and do this analysis paralysis stuff, or you can actually take action and you take what you learn and you apply it. And so that's one thing that everybody knows about you and notices is that you're taking action. I mean, we've driven around in the car and I hear you on the phone and I'm just like, this kid's got it. This kid's going to be an entrepreneur. There's no doubt you're going to be super successful. And the main reason, it's not because of something you learned from Apex. It's because you're putting in the work. That unfortunately, guys, is a necessary part of the business. You have to actually put the effort out there.
Yeah. And you need to have motivation.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, what am I going to do with my life, right? I have a kid that's just, she was born like 6 months ago, and I need to provide. You got this, thing inside you saying, what are you gonna do to make this happen for you? Give them a good life, right?
Yeah.
And whether you have a kid or not, you need to have motivation inside you, because it's hard. It's
Yeah.
not easy. Even if you make, you say you're gonna make 10 calls a day, getting rejected is not easy. And
No,
a lot of
it's no
people,
fun.
don't like doing it, and that's the hard part. You
Yeah.
gotta push through it, and like you said, I make calls even when I'm in the car, I'm eating with my wife or with my family. I get calls. That's how you make it happen, right? And that's how you're gonna make it happen. You gotta make calls. It's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
So you need to do the work so that in a few months or weeks you're gonna get
Yeah.
profit, return out of it, right?
And even though you're gonna make a year's salary on this first deal,
Yeah, we can get to the details.
I'll let you give the details. But
Yeah.
even though you're gonna make a year's salary on this first deal, that doesn't mean that you can just quit. I mean,
Of
it's not
course.
enough money that it's going to
Yeah.
allow you to retire.
No.
But if you keep doing the work, you'll continue to get these. I mean, shit, you might do this 10 times this year
Hopefully.
and make 10 times the amount of money that you would have made if you stayed with Luma.
Yeah. And before quitting, a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, get your real estate license. Get your broker license." And I was like, I can, but why would I? I can do this without the license. So my first goal was getting people to know me, right? And to do this, like I said earlier, it's a relationship. You have to have relationships with people. So, whether it's with you or, other investors in the group or, lenders, for example, or buyers, people who are looking to buy, these are people who I can help and I can get paid to do it. So we get paid to solve problems.
Aha, I've said that before.
Yeah, so we get paid. Us wholesalers, we're getting paid to, whether it's subject to, whether it's seller finance, whether it's a cash deal. We're solving a problem for somebody, and that's how you really make money. And for me, I find I love what I'm doing right now.
Awesome.
I really do. I only not love, having good relationships with people. I'm pretty interpersonal person. But I love helping out people. And, whether it's the buyer, it's their first home, they can buy with seller finance or subject to, that gives me an amazing feeling that is, you can't compare with anything else. Obviously, the money's good.
Yeah.
The money's good, but, money is not everything.
Right.
And obviously, I want to make money, but I also want to do something good while I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt, right? Like I've been doing this for, I say 27 years. I don't know if it's 26 or 27, but I've been in Puerto Rico for 7 years. And the things that I'm doing on this island have me jumping out of bed in the morning to go and work 12-hour days, 6 days a week. The partnerships that I get to be a part of, the people that I meet, this is what just like keeps me going and keeps me happy. There's no end in sight for me as long as it's this much fun.
Yeah.
And if you can find something like that, guys, whatever that is, you can be super successful with it because you're excited to do it. You've got plenty of energy, as opposed to getting up and going to work for Luma. Or for me, when I had a corporate job, I dreaded it.
It's dreading.
I hated it. If I needed to be there at 9 o'clock, I was just barely making it on time.
Yeah.
I'm clicking the alarm and sleeping too much. I don't do that. And I get up without an alarm, jump out of bed thinking about what am I going to do today? What fun thing am I going to get to do? It's a whole new life. It's a whole other perspective, right? When you find something that you're passionate about. So you guys find something you're passionate about and do that, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. All right, Emmanuel, let's jump into the details about this deal that you're about to close.
Okay.
And how it came together. How'd you find it, first of all?
So this deal I found with a broker. She has a site full of properties in the west coast of the island. And this deal, she said that the owners were willing to seller finance. So
before you go on, how many times do you make a call and you say, hey, would you be interested in seller financing? And the brokers are just like, no. Not interested in that.
You know what? A lot of times.
A lot of times.
Brokers, so me as a wholesaler and even you as an investor, our job too is to educate these realtors and brokers. We have to educate them because most of them don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And, some of them say, oh, if you're going to do this, we need to have 50% down. And that's crazy. No investor is going to put in 50% down.
Yeah.
And, part of it is saying, well, I can do it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna make you an offer. You say no or yes, that's fine, and I'll just move on to the next one. So back to that question, I'm probably calling like 20 people before I get someone say, yeah, sure, we'll do it.
Before someone says even, I'll consider it.
Yep.
You get told 19 times to go jump in the river.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And
It takes some stamina, guys. It's no joke, right? Like
it's
you
hard.
really
yeah.
have to put in the work and make the calls. Okay. So back to your deal. Now we get to the point where
I make the
you're
offer.
negotiating
Yeah.
a seller finance deal on
Yeah.
$1 million plus property.
A $1.1 million property, which when I saw the price, I was like, how am I even gonna get the money for this, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, but anyways, let's do the math, and I offered 100K down. That's what I offered. 100K down, 1.1 million. Which, by the way, they were asking for 1.2. So
Yeah.
I offered 100 below asking. I said 100K down, 7 years, 3,500 a month. That was my first offer. They countered with less monthly, a little bit more down payment, and we just met in the middle, which was 150K down, with the 30K. I mean, 3,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and 1.1 million for six years. Yeah.
1.1 million over 6 years, and how long you amortized your payments? Because $3,000 a month obviously isn't going to pay 1.1
Yeah,
million.
I think it's amortized over 30 years.
Okay.
And we had a balloon
And then you
payment.
have a balloon payment for the
Mhm.
balance at the end of 6 years.
Yeah.
So now you've got an accepted offer, and you said earlier you sat on it for a couple of days. Like,
Yeah.
now what do I do? Right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that we like to teach people and to say is you don't have to have it all figured out ahead of time. Do the next most important thing
Mhm.
next, right? So first go find the great deal, which you did. Then you sat on it for a couple of days, and now you're thinking, how do I pay for it?
Yeah.
Where do I get the deposit, which
Mhm.
which we ended up putting up for you?
Yeah.
First time ever that we did that, guys. We like to do partnerships with people, and so I'm glad that we got to do that, and I'll probably do more of that with people inside of Apex.
Yeah.
One thing before you move on, when I went out there to look at that, I didn't want to like the property as much as I did. And then I felt really bad because you're going to tell us about Aaron, but I'm calling Aaron up going, hey, Aaron, if you don't want it, I'll just buy it. I'll just take it. If you're not going to
Yeah.
do this deal, I'll take it. And Aaron was kind of like, oh, shit.
Oh,
Robbie's
shit.
going to take my deal. and I'm not trying to take Aaron's deal.
No, I know.
But it's a really good opportunity. I was
Yeah.
actually offering to pay him some money.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I want to do this deal. So now I'm fully supporting Aaron and getting it done. And I'm very hopeful that they're going to. But if
Yeah.
they don't, I'll still buy it.
I know you will.
So now you've negotiated the deal. You've got the deposit money, and you have a buyer.
Yeah.
You already had a buyer.
Yeah.
And your buyer
is
It's
from
gonna
the
be
Apex
the operator.
Yeah. So I got the offer accepted. I went to you, got the EMD, and we funded that. And then I already knew Aaron was interested, so I just called him up, said, I got it accepted. Aaron's not even from here, by the way.
No.
He's in Apex, and he's from the mainland. I think he's from Maine.
He's from Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's coming he's going to take a flight to come here and see the deal for the first time because he's buying it without even looking at it.
Yep.
And that's just how good a deal this is.
Yeah.
And
And Aaron's been looking for something in the hospitality
for a while, right?
space for 3 years, I think. I've known Aaron for a few years. He started coming to town and telling me what he wanted to do, and I mean, he's done some things in Maine.
Yeah, I know
But this is his first one on the island,
Mhm.
so it's awesome. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, so we are wholesaling it to Aaron. I got it under contract thanks to you, and then we're gonna just give it to, assign our option to buy the property to Aaron for a fee of $40,000,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy to think about, right? I'm making as much I would make in a year worth of salary when I was working in Luma.
Yeah.
And
And how much more fun is this?
way more fun.
Way more fun. So now Aaron is a real estate investor and operator. He runs Airbnbs in Maine. This is his first jump into the waters here in Puerto Rico. And he doesn't have $1.1 million either, or even the $150,000 to put down. So he goes to another person in Apex to find the money to
Yeah.
actually close on the deal. And you were a part of those conversations with him as well, right?
Yeah, so he originally was gonna go. He had a few people in mind, and this was the first person he went to, and he was like, "Here's the deal, man. Here's the numbers. It's making so the property is making 100K a year,
Yeah.
and 4 units is a beachfront property, amazing property. He showed them all the pictures, all the info. I even called him FaceTime when we were at the property. I
Mm-hmm.
called him and showed them around,
Yeah.
and they just fell in love with it. And it's a good deal. You know, you're getting in for very cheap, and you could start doing short term very easily, very quick.
Yeah. And hopefully I gave him some courage because I was really impressed with the deal. I definitely am not looking to buy it. Like, I don't need one more project, but when something comes to you and it's that good of a deal,
Yeah,
you don't let them go. It's a game changer for
For
everybody.
everybody
That's right. I mean, so the whole
involved.
thing,
Yeah, everyone
everybody
involved.
inside of the community, everyone involved is making some money on the deal, setting themselves up to do more deals together. I mean, it's really what we envisioned our community would be, and all wrapped up in one place, right? So you got the finder, the operator, the guy with the money, and then me. I came along for the
Helping out,
ride,
yeah.
helping out, and putting people together. Although you had already done it, you'd already met. Aaron
Yeah.
does a really good job of networking inside of the group, so you guys
Yeah.
already had a relationship.
Already, yeah.
And Aaron does such a good job of networking with everybody inside of the group that he was able
Already
to
found,
easily
yeah,
find the money.
another person,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know, all this is easy to say that I wouldn't be able to do this without the Apex group, which is, you know, maybe it's a cheap plug, right? But you know, I can honestly say this will change my life, and
Yeah.
because of Apex, I've met so many people. So I'm saying it now. I encourage you, join Apex, but you know, if you're not gonna do the work, then don't join. Really, don't join.
Don't spend your money with anybody else. So, like, Jerry Norton's got great things,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Pace Morby does,
Pace.
but all of it is predicated on you actually being willing to go out there and make 10 calls a day, make 2 offers a day, and do the work and follow through and get up and keep going when you get rejected 19 times before someone even says they'll look at your offer.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you'll know that if this is for you, because you'll have that entrepreneurial spirit. If you're going to work every day and you dread it, and you think that there's something that you're called to that's higher, that's a better thing, that's God talking to you, and he's got something in mind. And it may be real estate, and it may be something else, but live into it, and don't be afraid to think differently than everybody else does. The people who are contrarian thinkers, who do things differently than 99% of the world, are the ones who change the world and do great things. So in this case, you're a real estate investor at 22 years old, making as much money on your first deal as you would at a job for a whole year. I mean, that's got to be inspirational to people out there.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I hope
Yeah.
so too. It certainly motivates me. Like that. This is absolutely the vision that we have for the group, to see Aaron get a deal, to see Steve come in and fund it and have some passive income, to see you put the thing together. I mean, this is just, that's amazing. That's what we want to see happen in our community. That's why we're doing it. It's certainly not because $97 a month changes anything for us.
No,
right?
no.
That doesn't even pay the bills for this YouTube channel that we put up.
Yeah.
But we do real estate. We're real estate investors, and it's a great life. And I believe that if you're thinking about doing it, it could be a great life for you too. Now you've done the one deal, and you've got another deal with me where we've got it under contract, and we're gonna sell a foreclosure flip that we did with a group inside of Apex. Ben, there's a theme, right?
Yeah.
We partner with people. We really do live into this. We expand our business through partnerships, and we find our partners through our community. So if you want to be a part of that, maybe consider joining Apex. We'll have a link in the description. And you're now doing not your next deal. You've got 4 more things, 5 more things.
Yeah. You've been very generous. You've helped me out, and I'm helping you hopefully move 3 more properties.
Yep.
I think we have another foreclosure sale that you guys are doing. You guys bought in Aguadilla,
Yep.
which is from Apex as well. We're trying to sell that one, and you have 2 or 3 more properties, personal ones, right, that you're
Yep.
trying to sell. And I'm structuring seller finances, so you know people who want to live in them maybe can get in for cheap. They don't have to qualify for
Yeah.
a loan, and you know this is what I really love doing, right? Because I can help someone who's never had a home.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've saved up some amount of money, but they don't have enough to qualify for a loan. They don't have enough down payment.
Maybe they don't have good credit.
They don't
might
have
not have a
good
great
credit.
job.
Mhm.
There could be all kinds of reasons why they can't buy a house.
Yeah.
But because we're willing to structure some things with some seller financing or do lease options, we can find people who want to have a home, want to be a homeowner, but otherwise couldn't.
Right.
And if that sounds good to you, if you're watching this and you want to have a house, then leave a comment for Emmanuel in the comments here, and he'll get in touch with you, and
Yeah.
we'll put his contact info everywhere as well.
Yeah.
We've also got the one in Carolina that's under contract now and going to be closing maybe in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that was the first foreclosure you guys did, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first one we did with the group in Carolina. We did a renovation on it, so we're teaching a group of new real estate investors how to do a foreclosure business, which, going to the courthouse steps, buying something from basically the bank, and then fixing it up, and then flipping it, selling it down the road. And you helped us find a buyer for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So hopefully that's going to close soon. And yeah, now 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to the Apex group, right? Because it's with you, right? But it could have been anyone else, right? It could have been some investor that joined Apex and he's trying to move something, and you saw that I'm working, right? So
Yeah.
I guess you felt encouraged that that I'm gonna work hard, and that's something that you guys need to do, right? If you're gonna start doing this, whether it's wholesaling, investing, or whatever you're gonna do in real estate, if you really do the work, people are gonna see it.
Yeah.
And you're going to get recognized for it, whether it's in Apex, whether it's outside of Apex. It doesn't matter. If you really have that grind and people really see you working, someone's going to reach out and you're going to get people's attention, right?
There's no question about it. Like I told you earlier, my wife said, "Hey, that kid's hustling. we need to give him more stuff, and let's be a part of his story." That's it, right? Like,
Yeah,
and there's going to be people that think they want to do it, but then don't ever put in the work,
Yep.
and then it won't work for them.
Yeah.
So you guys, I just can't stress it enough. It's a great life, but it takes a lot of effort.
It's hard. And even if it's hard, you gotta really love doing it, because the same way we dreaded our 9 to 5. People dread their gas station job or retail job. I used to work retail. I used to work at a gas station. I've worked a lot of places, so I know how it is, right? And I know what it is to get up in the morning and like, wow, I really don't want to go to work. I hated it, right? And it's not, I can do the work and I was good at it, but it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And here you really find a love. I mean, I did find a love for real estate, and to say the least, it's changing my life.
Yeah.
And it's all because of groups like Apex, Ria Group, like you said, watching other people's videos and other groups. It doesn't matter the group you join. If you really don't put in the work, you're not going to do anything.
Right.
So,
And if you do join Jerry Norton's group and you put in the work, it'll work. If you follow Pace Morby, that shit will work.
yeah,
You just have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
So hopefully, after this video, you're going to join Apex. All right, Emmanuel. Well, thanks for sitting down and talking to me. We're going to do this more often because you're going to sell a whole bunch of stuff and we'll tell
Hopefully.
the story along the way. And you're going to go and set the world on fire. I'm really proud of you. Thanks for being part of
Thank you, man.
our story. And let's go do a whole bunch of stuff for a long, long time.
Yeah, and hopefully people watching us will join us too, and we can do deals together.
That's right. All right. God bless you guys.